Well, it certainly feels like we're in a new place again. And this time it feels like there is a real completion of more old stuff that we'd been pulling along with us. And this time now it feels more and more that there's less attachment to the old stuff and less concern about the future as well. It's been a real, for me personally, an intense week, really, of kind of putting those things to rest for the most part and noticing how habitually that kind of perspective had been still ingrained and embodied even in my physical, my mind self, body mind, where it was just a habit to still run back and look at things and worry about what might have been done incorrectly or regret what was said or whatever. And at the same time, leaping off into the future and being concerned about potential things that could happen rather than being present. And it's really, you know, practicing what I've been preaching basically at this point is being able to be present in the moment. And certainly for a good amount of the experience I have been, but still it's easy to still slip into the old habits when they're very well ingrained, I guess you could say. It's a practice of just noticing when that happens and then being loving and compassionate, having self-compassion and not beating oneself up for slipping back into the old habits as well. This is something I've certainly had to practice as well and just allow is falling into this heart space and being in the love and compassion for the self. And I'm sure many of you can identify with the idea that it's often quite a bunch easier to have compassion for others than it is for the self. This is something, again, partly we've grown up into in a lot of cases. We've been conditioned where it's like we're supposed to think of others, which we are, but certainly we're not supposed to neglect ourselves. However, the way many times we've been brought up or conditioned culturally or whatever is that, yes, put others first and then just don't worry or don't bother or don't be concerned about the self. It's kind of, we are considerate and loving and supportive and in service to others at the expense of ourself, to the detriment of ourself. And that's where some of the things that we've taken on, these beliefs, that's where they fall short. Because really, when we don't love ourselves, we can't love others. We not authentically or genuinely. And when we aren't kind or compassionate or loving to ourselves, then really it's not only more difficult to be those things for others, we also completely just drain ourselves. We neglect ourselves. We suffer for it. And that's not the way it's supposed to be, certainly. And when we continue to open up and be in that space, in the love for ourselves, and then we expand from there and come more into presence, and then we get that renewed sense and knowing of being connected, of being one with everybody and everyone, everything else, then that kind of sense of compassion and love that is now able to expand within us also expands and encompasses others and everything as well. And this begins in the self. And so certainly that's one of the things I've been experiencing in this time. And then again, the coming from that to some degree has been the concerns about the past, the worries about the future, whereas just being in the self, myself, ourself, oneself now, then the issues with the past and potential futures and all of that, they subside. And yes, in a practical sense, there is still some need to be planning for things and aware of what we need to be taking care of. Yet there is often, usually, a number of things we could let go of that have been concerning us about the past and that we quite often are just pulling forward with us in the present and therefore dropping into our paths of the future, so to speak, and we're just going to stumble into them again and again and again until we do actually choose to release them, let them be, let them go lovingly, with gratitude for what they've given us, what we've learned, yet not feeling the need to keep pulling them with us. When we do that, we can just be more in the present, more in ourselves, in the love that we are, and then we realize that, we feel it for ourselves, in and of and for ourselves. And through that, we feel it for others, everybody, everyone, everything. And this expands and becomes our experience more and more consistently. And this is where I feel we are right now. This another movement has become bringing us more into this present. And again, I'm speaking of my experience, and yet I also have heard this from a lot of others I've interacted with or heard from in this time, that it's continues to shift and we become more and more present, more and more synchronicities, more and more amazing and beautiful confirmations come in of truth. And again, this is unique for all of us, for every one of us, as one, as individuals as well. So whatever you may be experiencing, I'm certain that it is what you need to be experiencing. Yet I'm also certain that you are sensing some continuing changes and shifts as well. And this is a wonderful, amazing, and a beautiful thing. And it's where we need to be, where we want to be, where we have chosen to be on the soul level right now. And it's going to keep getting more and more beautiful and amazing and beautiful twice. More and more wonderful and loving. And this is the journey, here and now. See you next time. Love you.